Oh, good. I got that pop-up that this game doesn't support live stream again for this Halo game, which is getting stupid. Okay, so this week we've got Halo 2 armor. For the original Orion set concept art, which, might I add, was the original super armor in the concept arts of the Master Chief Collection. And obviously the last exchange of the season. Now, it's been unconfirmed whether or not there will be a new season coming up, or if this is the last Master Chief season, period. Though it's likely that they're just focusing on Infinite and will come back to the Master Chief Collection later. One thing I would really, really love to see is, if you look at the Master Chief Collection seasons, going back to the first one, Noble, it's a Reach theme. Halo Infinite started out with a Reach theme. Now, it would be interesting if they essentially followed the same themes. Season 2, a CEA theme. Season 3, a ODST theme. Season 4, a Halo 3/4 season theme, and go from there. Now, up into 3, it was pretty much predictable. Now, what's interesting is a lot of these cosmetics they added would be right at home in Infinite. So I'm hoping that they'll start bringing these cosmetics, because a lot of these cosmetics in, such as the Mark 5B armor sets, are already in Infinite as part of the season. So I'm hoping they essentially are going to take all the cosmetics that have been in the Master Chief Collections seasons and they exchange it and whatnot and add them into Halo Infinite up to Season 8, which about it was Season 5 where they started introducing the brand new, like, new stuff. And this is basically a fracture, the first official fracture that they did right here in Season Mythic. Though Raven could also be classified as a fracture But what I would like to see is basically them focus on Infinite up to Season 8, adding all of the stuff that they have in the Master Chief Collection to Infinite, maybe like updating them and changing them a bit to make them more Infinite compatible or whatever. And then, or maybe even adjust Infinite so it's more compatible, just like the fact that nameplates and emblems are separate in Master Chief Collection versus one single unit. I still like the ability to generate emblems like I do. Want a Japanese sun with a bullseye in it, or crosshairs in it? You're good to go. Want a paw print with claw marks behind it? You're good to go. Want a moon with a pair of lips and a heart in it? You're good to go. Stuff like that, you know? And I just named some of my old school friends, like emblem designs, concepts, whatever. Anyway, so I'm hoping that once Season 8 and Infinite finishes, they'll essentially do a Season 9 in Infinite that's also has many of the same stuff that starts up with the seasons again in Master Chief Collection. So that way Master Chief Collection and Halo Infinite uses the same season system, themes and dates and cycles, whatever, and has many of the same cosmetics added back and forth. So that you can do things like utilize the same Halo 3 or Halo 4 Spartan designs in Infinite as you do is Master Chief Collection type thing. But considering it also has armor cores for like Reach, being able to recreate your Reach Spartan would be nice. Although I will admit that the Mark 5B armor variant is by far my least favorite armor variant that was officially released in the game. Even the anniversary version of Mark 5 would have been better. It would be nice if we actually got a official Mark 5 A variant or Master Chief's variant from CEA campaign as an armor core set in Infinite and even added to Master Chief Collection sometime instead of just classic, you know? But that's just my thoughts. So, yeah, obviously, if I'm going to have any generalized feedback or input or ranting, it'll be saved to the end of the episode, so those who don't want to hear it can skip it type thing. But it's mostly like my thoughts, feedbacks, and criticisms of the game in question to be essentially directed towards the developers. So it's not meant necessarily for general audiences, although having the audience's opinion may or may not be a blessing, especially if it eventually gets to, say, like 343 and they see a bunch of opinions that say, yeah, that would be awesome, or no, or yeah, or anything like that. It may help shape the future of development. Essentially, that's the last segment of my videos, will be inputs on ways to improve the game in future developments. So having any opinions, comments, or whatever on YouTube or Twitch, archives, though I always upload to YouTube afterwards. Would be welcome. I do have the link attached to my Twitch channel. I did recently change it to my channel name to the Draftmirian Royal Archives. Of course, it doesn't suddenly recognize my fingerprint. I may have mentioned that before. I have noticed that my YouTube channel has gotten no traffic since then, but it was more properly themed with everything else. Before that, I was using essentially default stuff, no custom names, so it didn't really work too well. But that was because when I created that account on YouTube, I had no plans to use YouTube creator content, just watch stuff on YouTube when I do. So now that I started using YouTube more often, I wanted to update it to reflect that, so I changed the name. So it's literally the Draftmirian Royal Archives. Draftmirian is essentially the mythical creature that I created that's like a chimera, but instead of a goat growing out of the back, it's a phoenix, mainly so that its wings can be used by the lion's body, with most of the phoenix's body buried in the back and hidden from view. And instead of a serpent for a tail, it's basically got a Asian serpentine dragon. Think the Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Shenron dragon growing out of the lion's tail, able to breathe fire and whatnot too. And that's a Draftmira. Draftmirian is just essentially a term in a different context. The term in a different context. Now, as for how it's spelled, it's DRAFHMIREN Royal Archives. Now, for those who watch my videos and have any interest or want any comments, inputs, or get caught up or whatever for my past videos, check it out. Subscribe, like, comment, whatever. You could essentially help shape the future development of these games, depending on actually how many people have an input to my input at the end of the videos, as well as generalized input on what was recently updated. So that's, in a nutshell, the end of the Master Chief Collection. In a moment, I will be starting up the What's Newman segment. I want to log in and see what my co-host is doing and if they'll be available, so there may be a delay anywhere from 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 to 2 minutes, to all the way to maybe an hour or so. It just depends. But I will cover it today. And yes, it has to be today, come to think of it. But yeah. Anyways, so that's the Master Chief Collection's New Year's BattleNet report.